Welcome back. Let us continue with this remaining part of topic admixtures. Uh, in last lectures, we have studied about the chemical admixtures, and now the second part we are going to learn about mineral admixtures or pozzolanic admixtures, which are more commonly or uh, more extensively used nowadays in our concrete industry. So we must have thorough knowledge of these type of admixtures. Now, basically, these are siliceous materials. That means containing very high percentage of silica. And before going for various types or names of these mineral admixture, we have to understand first what is pozzolanic reaction. What exactly happens when there is chemical reaction between this pozzolan and some basic siliceous compounds in cement like C3H2S, of course in presence of water. Now you can see uh, there is the chemical reaction I have written in these two lines. So basically here you can see C3S and C2S. As conventionally we have seen, it reacts with the water, which we call hydration reaction, and as a result of hydration there is formation of calcium silicate hydrate gel, that is CSH gel, and calcium hydroxide. So where we know, we have studied earlier that CSH gel is responsible for good properties or strength giving properties, whereas calcium hydroxide is not much wanted product, or it can, you can say, it is unavoidable byproduct of this hydration reaction. Now by using pozzolanic admixtures or pozzolanic materials, what we can do, that calcium hydroxide can be reacted upon with this pozzolan, obviously in presence of water H2. So you can see there is calcium hydroxide, which is the byproduct of that. It reacts with pozzolana plus water to give additional CSH gel. So this CSH gel is there, but this is additional CSH gel, and that obviously it is a win-win situation where we didn't want calcium hydroxide in hydration reaction, but here by using pozzolanic admixture we have consumed calcium hydroxide with pozzolan and water to give additional calcium silicate hydrate or CSH gel, and this reaction is called pozzolanic reaction. So this reaction reduces calcium hydroxide, and the reduction of calcium hydroxide improves the durability of cement paste by making the paste dense and impervious. So I hope you have understood what is the pozzolanic reaction and what is the importance of pozzolanic reaction over the conventional or original hydration reaction. Try to understand the difference between hydration and pozzolanic reaction. In pozzolanic reaction, additional CSH gel is formed and unwanted calcium hydroxide is consumed or reduced. So this is the major advantage of mineral admixtures or pozzolanic admixtures. Now nowadays this addition of pozzolanic material, it offers many more advantages, like it lowers the heat of hydration and temperature shrinkage. Already we have studied this in topic of shrinkage. It increases the water tightness as density of the concrete is increased. It reduces the alkali aggregate reaction or AAR, which we have seen earlier, that is the chemical reaction between alkalis present in cement, that is soda and potash, Na2O SO2, and reactive aggregate. So these will be silica, particularly in those reactive aggregate, it will get reacted with those alkalis in cement to give expansive gel, which we have already studied earlier. Next, this Mineral admixtures or pozzolanic admixture improves the resistance to attack by sulfate soils and seawater. So in marine construction it is more commonly used. It improves workability obviously, and it's lower cost because already we have seen that pozzolanic material like fly ash nowadays it is used in cement also, in concrete also. It is replacing that costly OPC clinker by some amount. So obviously it is helping in lowering the cost either of cement making or of concrete making. Most commonly used pozzolanic materials are fly ash, ground blast furnace slag, or it is also abbreviated as GGBFS, silica fume, or it is also called microsilica, rice husk ash, and metakaolin. Now let us see one by one. What is this fly ash, which is more commonly used pozzolanic admixtures? Now, fly ash is obtained from the combustion of powdered coal in thermal power station. So this is a very special ash. It is not ordinary ash obtained in any industry. So basically, it is taken or obtained from thermal power station, waste of thermal power station after combustion of that powdered coal. That because that coal is containing very high carbon and obviously more silica. So that's why this is the most widely used pozzolanic material all over the world, not only in India but all over the world. In India, the quality of fly ash is governed by one Indian standard code, that is IS 3812 Part 1 2003. So whatever fly ash we are going to use for making cement or making concrete, it has to pass the norms prescribed in this particular IS code 3812. So again I want to repeat that any ash will not serve as fly ash. Now the fly ash, obviously it should have high fineness, low carbon content and good reactivity, because already we have seen that pozzolanic reaction, so that good reactivity is essential. Fly ash particles are spherical in shape. Again, this spherical shape improves the flowability and workability and reduces the water demand. Thus, bleeding and drying shrinkage will also be reduced. Fly ash also reduces heat of hydration. Now, when used in concrete, it contributes to strength due to its pozzolanic reaction, already we have seen. However, the strength development will be very slow as compared to concrete without fly ash. That's why generally people sometimes they complain that the concrete which is made by using fly ash, and we had cast the slab or concreted the slab yesterday, but today still it has not gained full hardness or full rigidity. So that is due to this, because there is a slow hydration reaction and slow strength development, but ultimately later a strength will be same, that is when we compare it with 28 days strength. So due to continued pozzolanic reaction, sometimes it will get greater strength at later age, and for this the fly ash concrete should be cured for longer period. And it is a much common complaint that even plastered surface is not getting fully dry, or it is not getting full strength hardness. So you have to cure it for longer period, because it takes some time to complete its hydroxide reaction as compared to normal OPC or cement without fly ash. Now one more advantage of fly ash is, when it is used with the concrete, it makes the concrete dense, and obviously it gives water, or it prevents water permeability. Now as far as durability is concerned, fly ash increases the durability of concrete considerably. It governs the corrosion of reinforcement, and it against acts as a reducer for expansion due to alkali aggregate reaction, and that's why due to long term strength, fly ash is an important ingredient of high performance concrete. Notice high performance concrete is different than high strength concrete. In special concrete topic we are going to discuss in detail about that, but please note here that high strength concrete and high performance concrete are not same. High performance concrete are totally special, very special concrete. Sometimes more over that very high performance concrete. This is one of the special concrete type. In due course we are going to talk about that. One more again important but not much commonly used pozzolanic or mineral admixture, it is silica fume, or also it is called microsilica. It is still very finer than fly ash, but it is very costly. So whenever it's very high performance concrete or very high strength concrete is required, there only this silica fume or microsilica is used. Now it is produced from high quality pure quartz. Quartz means containing silica. It is basically silica containing material. Now silica fume is about 90% silicon dioxide, that is SiO2. Now this SiO2, very fine SiO2 or silica oxide, it is spherical in shape. It is extremely fine, having average diameter